concerning new reality of living in America. It's pretty crazy, man, when you think about it. Around the 1990s, I remember, riding with my grandparents and passing by Arco. Arco at the time was 90 cent. I believe it was 90 cent. And that's all I really remember as a snapshot as a kid. And if you fast forward today, 2026, the reality right now in America is every time it's time for you to go and put gas into your tank, you look up at the price point and you see $6, $5 and change. And then you stop and you go, well, what is that? Why is it like that? And majority of the time, as average Americans, people always tend to put the blame or to point the finger at each other. And as you get older, as you do more research and you really figure out who's who and why they do what they do, you realize that why are you pointing the finger at each other? There is a higher level of government, there's a higher level of people that control the things that we pay for, the things that we need to utilize as a necessity. And it's not the person sitting next to you. We call these people the oligarchs of the world, right? If you take a look at media right now, what do you see? You see a big war zone happening. You see Iran, you see Israel, and then who else? That's right. You see us right in the middle of that battle. So then you go and you're like, okay, well, that explains why gas is so high. And remember, what is gas? Oil, right? So when you think about all of these certain things, and realize you're not in the driver's seat. You are not in the driver's seat. Now, they may make you believe that you're in the driver's seat by saying, hey, look, well, if you go to the voting polls, put your vote in, put the person that you want in, whether it's the blue party, whether it's the red party, it's up to you. So psychologically, they make it seem like you're in the driver's seat when in reality, you're not. And in 2026, it's a different America than the millennials grew up in. The Gen Zs, it's a different time in which they grew up in. We're talking about an age of media, an age of larger propaganda, right? And we're talking about an age of mass, not destruction, distraction. And that's very important because a lot of us are always doom scrolling. We're always on the phone. We always have something in our face to direct us from some of the real problems and some of the real challenges that we have today. And cost of living is being one of them. Cost of living is tearing people apart in this country. It's tearing people apart in this country. You're talking about gas prices. You're talking about rent. You're talking about light bill, water bill. And the list goes on. And the crazy part about that is that they have put a cost on living. Think about that. You have a cost on living. It's strange, man. Like, as I grew up as a kid, man, I never really thought about certain things, until you really get into the depth of everything, it starts to open your mind. But I believe America has flipped a switch on me. Like I said, I had to come back to doing this because we need to address these things. We need to kick out the distraction. You guys gotta know these things. You gotta stop buying shit in order to cope with what's going on. Because that's what I noticed. I noticed that everybody buys something when they're feeling sad. They buy something when they see the gas prices going up. They buy something when they just barely got the rent paid. It's a distraction, right? And that's the reality. That's the reality of America, man. You must buy something in order to cope with your fear of what's going on, with your fear of the dirty, corrupt, soulless individuals that run this country today. You must be able to cope with that. The best way to do that is to buy something. It's at a point right now where everybody needs to focus because we're in a trying time right now. This is America that you've never seen. You've never seen this America before, ever. But it's here and it's not going anywhere. And the crazy part about it is that the distractions will bury your mind so deep that at some point you believe that everything just disappears. Cost of living disappears, rent disappears, housing crisis disappears, but it has never went anywhere. If you go right now to the IE, the high desert, you may not know where that is if you're looking and you're watching this video from the East Coast or the South. If you go to the IE, the high desert, the average cost of a house is $600,000. It used to be under $250,000, $250,000. Now you're looking at a mortgage that went from $1,500 up to $4,000 a month, right? So then you got to factor that in. $4,000 a month mortgage. And you may have a kid or 2 kids or 3 kids. Not to mention, you may be in a married relationship. And all that has to be accounted for. So it's like, you cannot forget as to what is going on. And people right now are saying that everywhere, especially on YouTube, man. Like I said, I talked about this in another video and I was like, it's very disturbing to watch somebody cooking inside of a storage unit. It's very disturbing to watch someone cooking in a storage unit. Think about that. Do you know how filthy a storage unit is? When you put shit in a storage, and let's say you get it out of the storage, because most people that put something in the storage, they don't ever really get it out. That shit belongs to the storage. But that's on average. But when you, let's say that you get the stuff out of storage, get you a place, apartment, blah, 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 etc. And you get your stuff, put it in that new apartment. And what usually happens after that? All the shit that was in that storage unit lives in your furniture, lives in your washing machine, lives in your dryer, and it belongs to your apartment now. And you know what I'm talking about. All types of shit, pests that you don't even want to think of. A storage unit is filthy. People are filming and crying because they're living in storage units and they're trying to make mincemeat utilizing the YouTube platform in order to, right, make money. And that's the saddest thing that I've seen outside of people living in their cars. It's the saddest thing because we're supposed to be a country of advancement. We're supposed to be the richest country in the world, but yet we're $37 trillion in what? That's right, in debt. So, where do we point the finger? Not at each other. It's a distraction. The oligarchs are the ones that run the country. They decided to take the position to lead and to govern, and they're not fucking doing that. They are not doing what they sworn on the Bible to do. So with that being said, a lot of people are suffering right now. And when will it end? Who knows at this point? Like I said, we're $37 trillion in debt. So thinking that this is just going to go away is an absolute mind blower, because it's not going nowhere. Stay locked in, guys. Stay focused. Look out for each other, because we're in a trying time, and it's only going to get more crazier as we go. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Hopefully you guys got some information from that. Until next time, peace.